I was just working on my crab computer and suddenly rule 90 emerges out of nowhere. I was working on this component here and it's made up of merge blocks, which is something I talked about in a recent video. And basically one of these lines is meant to turn one crab into 8, which are evenly spaced out. Then I can use 2 of these to turn them into 16 and put them together into an infinite crab stream. But the thing is, I noticed that when I use it, the pattern of crabs that goes across it looks very interesting, and I thought there was definitely something strange going on here. Because as you can see, I started from one crab, and then at the end there's a massive gap between the first and last crab here. I also noticed that there are these gaps of crabs in the middle that open and close over time. And immediately I thought of cellular automata. I thought there was definitely something like that going on. So let's break this apart and try and figure out what is going on here. So if I just put one crab into one of these blocks, then you can see it just turns it into 2 crabs side by side. But I put 2 of them together because what I want is to have 2 crabs spaced out with 1 space between. So you can see when I do that, the 2 crabs in the middle annihilate, and then I've got 2 crabs with a space between. So basically I just added these until I had enough crabs, because each one duplicates 1 more crab. So in the end, I had 7 of them, and that made a stream of 8 crabs. Okay, so as this goes through, you can see at the end I have 8 crabs, after some really interesting stuff goes on in here. So what I did was I ran 1 crab through it, and then I took down notes. I basically wrote down on paper where a crab is and where there are no crabs. Then over time, I noted that down, and I looked at where the crabs moved to, and I noticed some patterns. Then I had a look at some cellular automata, and I found that it looks like rule 90. Then I tried to think of a way to visualize this, so how can I actually look at this rule in action? So I ended up making this, which has 16 cloners on the left side, all at a different phase, going into this pattern repeated 16 times. Then at the end, I've just got this destroyer line to stop the crabs from getting out and destroying things. But if you have a look at this, and kind of turn your head to the left side, you can see that there are these triangles forming. I have these triangles of crabs, and then empty triangles in the middle. And if you know about cellular automata, you'll know that this looks like rule 90, or specifically Sierpinski's triangle, if I'm saying that right. Now this is really cool, because this whole behavior emerges from a bug in the game. Merge blocks aren't even supposed to exist, and yet because they do, we have this interesting behavior in the game. In case you didn't notice, this is light blue instead of blue or white, because it's actually a combination of these 2 blocks. So whenever you make merge blocks now, the colors merge together. Isaac suggested that I should do that, so I did, and now it's much easier to see them. So this here is actually a cloner and then a block. So what's happening is, normally a crab would go into this cloner, and it would clone, so another crab would spawn on the other side, and the original crab would turn around, so it would flip. Okay, but what happens is, it's reacting with the block as well at the end. So normally, when a crab reacts with a block, it just flips around, nothing else happens. If we combine the 2 together, by pasting one on top of the other, now you can see on the left side it says hovering, cloner, and block, so that means there is a cloner and a block here. Now if I let a crab go into it, it's going to first clone and then flip around again. So a crab spawns on the other side, this crab flips that way and then flips back that way, and in the end goes to the right. So you can see that as a crab goes through here, it's almost like another crab spawns in front of it and it continues. Okay, so that's the underlying behavior that causes all of this to happen somehow. Now I also want to show you this below, which is basically the same pattern except there's no double space between these. So you can see up here we have 2 spaces after every 2 blocks here, but down here we don't have that, we just have a block, a space, and so on. The thing I noticed straight away is that we don't have these gaps, we just have the triangles themselves. So if I run these at the same time, you can see this one also looks interesting. It looks like we sort of have a sawtooth pattern, or like teeth going along. We have like triangles made of crabs, and then triangles where there are no crabs. and it almost looks like it's in the exact same position as the triangles up here, so also very interesting. But I think there's something about having this space here that causes this to behave differently. Now, I don't know why this happens, but if you can figure it out, please tell me and I'll mention you in the next video. And bonus points if you can change the pattern it uses, or even find some different rule in the game, like another cellular automaton. Also, please subscribe if you haven't already, and by the way, if you don't understand something in this video, please check out the other videos on my channel, because they'll probably clear it up. I've got a playlist full of crab videos, and I'm sure one of them will explain what you're looking for. So this is another one of these pattern generators that I made, and I'm basically just playing around with slanting it, making it straight, and using different cloners on the left side to try and see how I can change it. So you can see that this one makes the triangles much thinner, and they even move slower. And also, I noticed that this line here is always parallel to the left edge of the triangle. So this is the last one I made, and I think it's quite a bit easier to look at than the others. You can pretty clearly see that there is this triangle pattern going on, and the triangles aren't so slanted like in all the other examples. It would be great if someone could make one that displays in an actual triangle shape, like upright, but for now, this is the best way I could come up with to look at it, which I still think is pretty cool. Okay, I could go on and on about this, but I'm gonna end the video here, so I'll see you in the next one, and don't forget to subscribe.